And you have to say on the balance of play in the last 15 minutes, it's the least they deserve.
What have Connacht got left in the tank here? They go short with the restart. They get up and they've won it. It's gone forward. Off at Glasgow hand advantage to Connacht. Just a single point between them. Just over 6 minutes to go in the game. Heffernan, great burst from him. Low tackle comes in, scything tackle on Quinn-Roo. Goodwin on to Farrell. McCabe looking to burst a little hole in the defence. Quinn-Roo, lovely pop-up from Quinn-Roo. Heffernan in support. Falls spectacularly, but presents the ball well. Blade gets it away. Ronaldson. Oh, he was just caught in possession. Have Glasgow managed to turn it over here? Whistle blows. It's gone forward off a blue hand. Relief for Connacht to continue this attack with a scrummage.
Yeah, a great response from Connacht and the likes of Dave Heffernan and Quinn-Roo, giving a lovely offload to Dave Heffernan, who's been very impressive in the loose today. But a tight call there. Ian Davis just saying that it was a fair competition, and then he just went off his feet after knocking the ball on. But before that, he was eligible to go for the ball. So just a forward, a knock on, and resulting in a scrum for Connacht.
Quaylen Blade heads to the side. James Mitchell on in his place. Dave Heffernan as well. A well-deserved rest. An incredible 75 minutes from him at hooker.
Absolutely, and for Dave Heffernan, you know, capped for Ireland. Last year probably didn't go as well as he had hoped. A couple of injuries, but also with Shane Delahunt kind of forcing his way into the starting lineup a lot. And at the end of last season was probably first choice. And then you throw into the mix Tom McCartney as well. You've got three hookers there who on any day can serve a great purpose for Connacht. But Shane Delahunt now, I'm sure he would have been itching to get on the pitch and hoping to have started the game. So we'll see what kind of impact he brings to Connacht.
Play will restart. Scrummage to Connacht. 5-6 metres outside the 22. A little bit more than 15 metres in from the far touchline. First bit of the action for James Mitchell.
And if you're Connacht now, you're probably thinking with 5 minutes on the clock, probably similar to how Glasgow have approached the game in the last 10 minutes. I can't see them being too adventurous. A couple of hit-ups from forwards and try and manipulate a penalty from somewhere.
Well, Glasgow have been generous enough in that so far in the game, but when it's tight like this, the concentration may be raised considerably. Glasgow have won, of course, on the opening day of the season here in the last 2 years. Looking to make that a hat-trick. Oh, front row goes down. Penalty Glasgow.
Yeah, and Conor Kerry was always going to be in trouble there. Just looked at his pre-bind. He was overextending from the impact, and unfortunately, if you overextend, your knees are too far back, and there's just not enough ballast to keep you upright. And unfortunately for Connacht, in a great position, they've given a penalty away.
Glasgow in no hurry to take this, obviously. There's the penalties. Connacht conceding 11, Glasgow 15. Neither coaching ticket will be happy with those numbers.
No, in modern rugby now, you're always trying to keep your penalty count in single figures, and as I said, both defensive coaches will be disappointed with those numbers today. But now, from a Glasgow point of view, as you see them walking to the line out, I can't see this going very far from the forwards' hands here. The maul so far has gone particularly well for them, so I can see this being tucked up the jumper and trying to manipulate another soft penalty.
Ian Davies stops the clock until the ball is thrown in. Losing a little bit of patience with Glasgow, but not enough to award a free kick to Connacht. And here's the maul. Glasgow are edging towards that touchline, but well in control. Frisbee takes it from Brown. Dunbar flat on the gain line. There's a little pick and go, the ball there again. Adam Ash picks and drives forward. Harley lending some weight. A ball very well protected. Fraser Brown acting as the scrum half. Oh, can Glasgow manage to wind the clock down from here? Can they force a penalty and get the lead out beyond 3 points? Well, they go back to Stuart Hogg. He might fancy a drop goal attempt from a long way.
It's asking a lot for the forwards just to keep hold of the retain the possession for 3 minutes. So I think you could be right there.
Well, Hogg is getting into that position in the pocket. And he's standing in his own half. If he's going to have a go from there, it's going to be some smack. Well, they go to Hastings, who tries the crossfield kick. Well, possession back to Connacht. What can Kelleher do? We saw a little bit of magic from him. Just couldn't find the pass after a brilliant break. That might have sealed the victory for Connacht.
Yeah, that was poor communication by Hastings. His winger had absolutely no idea that he was kicking the ball there.
Oh, McCabe tackled just inside his own half. Mitchell goes down the narrow side. Healy was at first receiver. Butler, the captain, carries on about 5 metres, then tackled. Mitchell rips the ball out. Boyle moving it on. Rob Harley up to make an important tackle. Hasn't rolled away. Referee saying they're onside. It's okay. Connacht managed to hold on to possession. A little bit of pace put into it now. Delahunt away to Adio Lucan. What a tackle. Adio Lucan managed to get it free, but it off the boot bobbles into touch.
Yeah, that was a great cover tackle there by Alex Dunbar. You thought for a split second there with the pace of Adio Lucan he was away. But a great read by Dunbar, knowing that the ball was going out wide, and just made that final effort to get out and make the tackle. But for Connacht now, they'll be trying to put as much pressure on this line out, on Glasgow line out as possible, knowing that's most probably going to be thrown to the middle or the front.
Oh, looks like Chris Fasaro's heading to the side. Substitute flanker. Ryan Wilson coming back on. Two very tired legs. There's Fasaro. Just a blood substitution.
And they have two scrum halves at the moment, Glasgow do. And Ryan Wilson's been ushered out, and then Gibbons has been put into scrum half, so it's going to be a maul.
Well, they haven't found a man. Delahunt at the back of the line. Butler took the pass on the first bounce. Mitchell having a look at his options. Adio Lucan coming back wide to this right-hand side. And the clock ticking on. We're into the final minute of normal time here. Oh, who's got the most energy? Who's got the most oxygen getting to the brains? One mistake here is going to cost the match for one side or the other. Delan tackled hard as he receives the ball, driven backwards. Connacht almost pushed back to the 10-metre line in the Glasgow half. Ronaldson is in the pocket, but it's a long, long way out for a drop goal attempt. Mitchell has a look at him. Back they go to Ronaldson for the drop goal attempt. Oh, he's miles away, never really got underneath it. Into the hands of Hogg. Well, he's carried the ball back into his in-goal area. Touches down.
And we're at 80 minutes on the clock, but it has to make the play. And Glasgow will be sighing a big sigh of relief there. That all came about from a miscommunication in the line-out. But if the game finishes this score, they won't matter one iota.
Well, the clock has ticked past 80 minutes. Final play.
And he can't kick it straight into touch, which is a blessing for Connacht.
Well, he finds a bit of grass deep. Last throw of the dice for the Connacht men. Kelleher stopped just short of the 10-metre line. Quinn dips the shoulder. Have to be full concentration from Connacht now. Well, Glasgow sitting nicely. Is there a little bit of space? Oh, lovely feet. Farrell, Goodwin coming in support. Penalty to Connacht. Well, it's a long, long way out.
It was a lovely sort of hips by Tom Farrell to make the break, but I think this could be too far for Craig Ronaldson to kick, and they have to think with their head here.
Well, it's the easier side for Craig Ronaldson. He doesn't hesitate, points at the posts. It's all on the shoulders of the substitute outside half.
Well, to be fair to Ronaldson there was no second thinking. He was confident and immediately he pointed to the post. Didn't even need to look at Jared Butler there for his captain's guidance, and it all comes down to this. But just on that last play with Stuart Hogg, I think he was looking to run the clock down. But maybe he might be in best to taking the ball up, bring it into midfield, resource the ruck and then kick it into touch, and the game would have been dead. But the way he did it, he put the ball down, which resulted in a 22, and the kick had to stay in touch. That gave Connacht the opportunity.
So Ronaldson, 370 points, 307 points in his Connacht career. After 81 minutes of fantastic rugby and beautiful sunshine, it comes down to this. Halfway between the 10-metre line and the halfway line. Crowd silent. It's got the line. It doesn't. Oh, it just had enough off the outside of the post. It's kicked over the end line. Ronaldson can't believe it. It looked good most of the way. The players shake hands. It's been a terrific game of rugby, Michael.
It really has. And Ronaldson there, he had the distance, but unfortunately for Connacht, it was just to the left of the post and hit the post and game over. But as round one games go, very, very entertaining as we see the kick again.
Yeah, no difficulty with the distance, just the outside of the post. There's the reaction of the men on the bench. They can't believe it.
And Glasgow will be absolutely delighted with the victory. And if you're looking at it, a very unlike Glasgow win, really. Instead of the free-flowing rugby that they're being accustomed to in recent years, it was very much a game won by the pack up front, with 2 tries in the first half scored by them, and then with glimpses and sparkles of magic from the likes of Stuart Hogg.
Full-time score, Connacht 26, Glasgow 27. 4 tries for Glasgow, so they get the 4-try bonus point as well. It's 5 points on the league table for them, 1 for Connacht, 1 losing bonus point. They deserve more than that, Michael.
Yeah, it was a strange game from Connacht's point of view. Some fantastic stuff, but a lot of unforced errors, and just a final pass on a couple of occasions didn't go to hand. A couple of crucial penalties, and in the second half there, they kind of switched off the pedal, and unfortunately for them, gave away a few penalties. Glasgow got a sniff, held the ball on particularly well, and scored a couple of tries and deserved winners. But for Connacht now, they have a couple of home games coming up, the likes of Zebre and Scarlets, and we'll be hoping to try and make the most of it.
Well, the Connacht players dejected. They gave everything there today. Difficult in the heat, but the conditions perfect for rugby otherwise. 6 tries. Glasgow, they stuck at it right to the end. They looked like they might have been beaten. There's Fasaro showing how much of the wars he's been in, covered in blood. But 2 sides gave everything out there. A very, very entertaining game, but Connacht the ones disappointed. Glasgow will be absolutely delighted to come away with 5 points here. There were 9 points behind, 6 down at half-time. Connacht only scored 3 points in that second half, a single penalty from Carty.
And that's the difference. And you see the Glasgow pack going through there, and the likes of George Turner, who had an absolute stormer, and Oliver Kebble, who carried well and did fantastic in the tight. To take a bow, lads, because those guys really gave them the front foot.
Stuart,
Stuart
great
Hogg.
result for you. A bit tense at the end. How did you find it?
Cracking game. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Our boys worked incredibly hard. We didn't make it easy for ourselves at times, and a bit credit to the boys. We dug deep and got that result.
Got on the end of a lovely drop goal as well. Could you talk us through that yourself?
Yeah, I've practiced about 1 million times, and Wilson will be able to tell you I've never ever got them in training. So I just saw it as a wee opportunity. It was a kind of shot to nothing really, but as I say, the boys got me into that position to get that over, and I'm chuffed to bits that we're going away with a win.
Look, it was a key score, and you were nominated as man of the match, and here to present is Ray Sheehan of Guinness. Ryan, obviously the result that you've wanted, you started really well last season and went on a run. How important is this win away on the road?
Yeah, it's huge. We've had a tough pre-season, and I don't know. Look, there's been some stuff said in the press about the squad that we've got this year, but it just shows we've got a team that will dig deep. It wasn't pretty. It certainly wasn't easy, but we got the result there, and that's all we came for.
You talk about character in the team, and with some new young faces coming in, that's really important to you. But the disappointment maybe of last year, is that a driving force for you as well this year?
Yeah, certainly. There's a lot of gutted boys, and listen, we're probably stronger for that. But again, I'm just chuffed with the effort the boys put in today. We're not used to this sunshine, so it was hot out there, but we did well to win that one.
Going forward, what are the obstacles you see, and who are the strong teams that you're going to face going into this competition?
Oh, listen, everyone's strong. Connacht, they showed you today that they're a strong team as well. You've got your Leinsters, your Scarlets right up there playing well, and we've got a tough game at home next week against Munster. So, it's there's no easy games anymore in this league. So it's going to be a tough one, but looking forward to the battle ahead.
Going forward, what is the goal for the team within this competition? Where do you see yourselves?
Win it. We're here to win it.
Okay, we wish you all the best. Thanks for talking to us. Cheers.
Cheers, Ryan. Cheers, fellas.
For the first and last time ever, yeah.
Oh yeah, at least here you're covered actually, aren't you? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Sorry about this rest.
Forward to seeing the return of a world-class British and Irish Lion, but he ain't gonna make it. He's out. He'll be replaced by Stephen Hughes in the centre. Stephen Hughes wasn't actually even meant to be on the bench, but he travelled, and good job he did, because he's in. is the Ulster side. Marcel Coetzee will be targeting those centres, no doubt. Great to see him back. He again has had a terrible time through injury. Henry Spate is also starting, a debut for Ulster, and that's Billy Burns. Is he the man to take over Ulster's number 10 position? Will he be Ulster's new fly half? He certainly is today. Johnny McPhillips not on the bench, so a lot expected from Billy Burns. So it's Ulster against Scarlets, live here in Belfast from the Kingspan Stadium. Well, so many different storylines around this game, but they've all just had to be ripped up, because certainly there's no story bigger, Sean Hawley, than the absence of Jonathan Davies when he is here, so near and yet so far from a true rugby legend.
Yeah, desperately disappointed for John. Trims and I just walked across, congratulated him on seeing him back, and he must have done something in the warm-up there, because as you saw, Wayne Pivac rushed onto the field. He's clearly made the call. I think Jonathan wanted to play on, but there's a lot of games to go in this season, both club and international level, and Steph Hughes comes in. It just shows the beauty of travelling with a 24th and 25th reserve.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course there's a World Cup at the end of this season as well, so there'll be Welsh rugby fans biting their fingernails, I imagine. Let's talk about Ulster, Andrew. That was one of the big stories, was that Dan McFarlane's first game as a head coach and first game here at Ulster. He's only been here for 2 weeks. He won't have had enough time to influence things, you wouldn't imagine.
No, I think he'll subtly make an influence in the last couple of weeks. There's a couple of other coaches have kind of come to the fore over the summer, and they've had to put their hand up and take a lot more responsibility than they probably would have been expecting. But Dan's come in there. I'm sure he's cracking the whip and he's getting the boys all set. There's an exciting kind of feel about the team at the minute. I think they're very, very keen to move on and just forget about last year. And by talking to a couple of the boys, it seems like last year is a distant memory, so they're excited about what they can do this year.
It's easy to be down on them for last season, but we should remember they finished with 5 wins on the bounce. They made the Champions Cup. There's got to be some momentum that they can take from that, albeit they lost a lot of players, including yourself and Tommy and guys like that in the summer. Yeah,
absolutely. I think they've lost a few guys and they've signed a few guys, and hopefully those guys will be pretty influential. One guy who's definitely going to be influential is Coetzee. He's been very, very unlucky the last couple of years, and I think in the previous couple of seasons it's always been the Scarlets back row that have dominated defensively, got over the ball and just made carnage of Ulster's fast ball or anybody's fast ball. And I think there's an opportunity. That's a back row that compete. Marcel Coetzee, Sean Reedy and Nick Timley, that's a physical back row that compete with the Scarlets back row.
Let's talk about the number 10, Billy Burns. We saw him in the warm-up there. Sean, what have you made of him? Is that a good signing?
Yeah, he's a good signing. You don't get many English players, dare I say, playing in the Pro14, so it'll be a different kind of rugby for him, but he's now all Irish qualified, of course, and that's what he said. He wants to pin his badge, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he copes with this, because the Scarlets will bring a little bit of line speed. They're very aggressive off the ball, so he won't have it all his own way on the front foot, but a proven player. I think it's a good signing for Ulster.
What does it say about the way that they want to play this season, that he's starting the first game under Dan McFarlane?
Yeah, it says a lot, because he's an attacking fly half. He plays flat to the line. He tries things. And, of course, he's got good players around him. He's got McCloskey and Darren Cave, 2 experienced centres. And, if he gets into any trouble, he can look to them. So, it's an exciting battle tonight with him and Rhys Patchell. Very similar players, but not similar in stature.
You mentioned Marcel Coetzee, Andrew. I've only ever seen him in the flesh once. He was wearing a suit, and I felt sorry for the suit, nearly coming apart at the seams. He's a big physical specimen. What will he bring to this Ulster pack that might have been missing in his absence last year?
He's a monster. He's an absolute monster. There's a little bit of subtlety there in that back row. There's a little bit of balance, but Marcel, I think we know exactly what we're going to get with him. He's going to get over the gain line. He's going to get us fast ball.
Nothing too subtle about a guy built like that. Looking forward to seeing him. He's almost like a new signing, Sean, isn't he? Because he's played so little rugby here. Only 5, I think, games over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and a proven international. And don't forget, you got Ian Henderson in the second row as well. He's a back 5 player, so that's quite a mobile pack they got, albeit a physical and big pack. And I think that's where the difference in the game will be tonight, because the Scarlets are depleted in that area. No Jake Ball. They've lost Ty Byrne. John Barkley's gone. And new signing, Kasim is out injured as well, so it could be a point of difference.
Let's hear from the 2 directors of rugby then. Wayne Pivac and Dan McFarlane have been speaking to Mark Robson.
Last season very much an annus horribilis for Ulster, but of course nothing to do with you. But you've only been here for 12 days, a fortnight. What impact have you had, and what is Dan's plan?
What impact have I had? Well, the first 2 weeks have been spent assessing the situation, getting to know the players, getting to know the staff. In terms of impact, I think I've been very clear in what I want from them. from day one, and as I get to know them over the next few weeks, we'll find out who's willing to step up.
Wayne, 6 knockout games in the last 2 seasons, plus a trophy. How do you maintain that momentum this season?
Certainly a lot of hard work, in the off-season, making sure the boys, are in the right condition to kick it off here with hopefully a good performance in round 1. Making sure that we don't sort of relax too much and believe that we're the finished articles. So we know that we're not, and there's a lot of work to be done. And a lot of teams are doing a lot of work in the off-season and obviously working out how we play the game. So we've got to try and stay one step ahead.
We've got to show a competitive edge. I think that's absolutely key. It's what the fans here want. It's what the people of Ulster want. It's what what's driven Ulster over a number of years. We need to demonstrate that on the pitch. I'll be looking for the players who are willing to stand up and do that. And I think in the first 2 weeks that'll be exciting for me to look at and try and pick that out.
There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and for me now it's just focusing on each week, preparing the team as we would normally, so nothing changes there, and I'm sure those things will take care of themselves.
Let's pick up with Wayne Pivac, Sean. Obviously during that interview he wasn't aware that he was about to lose a 15th player to injury. They've already got 14 in the sick bay, but the 15th surely is the biggest concern for him right now.
It's the quality of player that is missing. Samson Lee in the front row, Jake Paul in the second row, Kasim, as I mentioned, at 8. So Johnny McNichol in the back 3. They've got quality in the back line, but to lose Jonathan Davis now off the back of Hadley Parks, who's been instrumental in the Scarlet success in the last 2 years, it's a hammer blow. So they've still got on paper, quality players. You look to the bench, it might be a little bit different now tonight.
I think when the word reaches the rest of the people in the stadium, there'll be a general sense of disappointment, not just from the Scarlets fans, but everybody wants to see the best players in the world in their home ground if they can, even if they are members of the opposition. We don't yet know the extent of this injury, but it just doesn't look good, Sean.
No, it doesn't look good, and he's been plagued with injuries, but when he's playing, he's an absolute quality player. Left-footed option. It's a big call now for young Stephen Hughes, who's travelled as a travelling reserve, to step into the shoes, not just straight off the plane, but to fill the boots of Jonathan Davis. Of course, he was the Lions man of the series not so long ago, and a quality individual. He leads the defence for the Scarlets as well, which is important. But Steph Hughes, he's got a good head on young shoulders. He's captained the Scarlets in the other competitions, and so he won't let the Scarlets down, but surely they lack the quality now that Jonathan Davis brings.
There they are in the dressing room getting ready to go. Of course, you have to react to situations. This happens fairly often in rugby. There's always injuries in the warm-ups, but it's certainly not what they'd be looking at. It's going to be an interesting season anyway for Wayne Pivac, given that we know he's got the Wales job. You've been a coach. I know they've said, look, I'm 100% focused on this job, but there's bound to be a little bit of a distraction, surely. Yeah,
it will be, and add to that the speculation that he may take Stephen Jones, who's been instrumental as well behind the scenes with this Scarlets team. So, but having said that, the players will galvanise. They'll understand that Wayne is leaving, and possibly Stephen the end of the season. So, they will go all out this year to do the best they can. They've got 4 home games in the first 6 matches of this Guinness Pro14. So, they've got a chance to start well and do what they've done in the last 2 seasons.
What a game in prospect. Ulster's first match under Dan McFarland. Commentary from Andrew Trimble and first Mark Robson.
There's a feeling of freshness about the Kingspan Stadium. Ulster need a new beginning after a season past that delivered far too much angst on and off the pitch and no knockout rugby. The Scarlets, on the other hand, appeared in a Guinness Pro14 final and a European semi-final. 2 teams clashing from, in terms of recent outcomes, the opposite sides of the Celtic rugby tracks. 15 on the Scarlets injury list, but still a strong side. Rob Evans, one of the best loose heads in Europe, and new signing Blade Thompson in the back row. Beware effervescent James Davis. Late news, bad news. Lion star Jonathan Davis pulled up in the warm-up, so Steph Hughes comes into midfield. New signing Sam Hidalgo-Klein and Clayton Blue-McKee's start. Well, they still have a Lion. They've lost 1. Jonathan Davis, man of the series in New Zealand, but Ken Owens, he was on the bench for Jamie George in all 3 test matches, so the experience is still there. Well, for Ulster, perhaps realism is a word that their fans can bear in mind, and there is perhaps the greatest Ulsterman of recent times, Rory Best. Today he can only look on and hope that his side produces a victory on day one of this new season. Well, the Scarlets, they know what lifting a trophy feels like. Very few clubs get to claim silver polish on their tax return. The Welshmen want more success. Ulster started and finished last season with good results. 5 wins from 6 in the league in the opening block, and winning 4 and drawing 1 of their last.